Hello, it's me again. This time I'm going to do something I don't know if I've ever really done this before. I might have done it as part of other videos, but I wanted to make a dedicated one for this particular part of repairing a C64, and that is repairing the case clips. This one has got one case clip still intact there, but all of the others are broken. So I'm going to show you how I do that. Right, so the case clips, this is the bottom half of the case, and the case clips hook into these slots here. And when you put the case together like this, and you have to line up these slots and get that hook to go into here, it's very, very easy to misalign these, or if you get anything trapped in here, in this edge here, that levers this up and it just snaps these very, very thin, small and fragile pieces of plastic off. This one is still here, but it's cracked and it doesn't really want to, it's had enough. I'm tempted to actually just chop this one off because I don't think it's going to last much longer anyway. It's quite nice and solid. Now I'm going to leave it there. So we're just going to repair this one here and this one here. Now the first thing I like to do is to cut these down so that they're level with this edge here. You don't really want anything left of the old clips. A pair of flush cutters, get most of it off, and then I'll just file off the rest. This plastic is so soft, it's very, very easy to file. Now the next thing I want to do is in here, or on this surface here between these two ridges, are other ridges. And it's part of the moulding process. I don't know why they're there. They don't seem to serve any function. They go all the way along here, and they're on all C64s. This one has actually got none in this one. It's the first time I've seen that. There aren't any ridges going across there, and it's just got like a rough texture. So this one would be ideal, but this one with these bumps down here will need to, I'll need to file those off so that that's a flat surface, and then I need to scratch it up, and I'll scratch this one up as well so that the glue has something to key into. Again, this is really easy. The plastic is so soft. So I'm using the end of my pointed file now just to dig into the plastic and put some scratches going across and at all different angles. Might use a knife for this actually. Yeah, that's better. A knife is better. Let's put some crosses in here. Probably worth, at this stage, just giving this a clean with some IPA and a microfiber cloth. Just to get rid of any surface oils and things that might stop the glue making such good contact. There we go. That's the finished one on there. I'm not going to touch it with my fingers. And there. Now the case clips I'm going to use are these ones. I've 3D printed these a while ago. And I'll share the pattern for these, the 3D printed file on my Discord in the C64 channel. I'll put it in there and pin it. But basically I used a different design. I think somebody made this. I remixed it from a design I think was for the VIC-20, and it was okay, but it was too wide for the slot here, so it would actually get jammed. Now these two ridges here actually get narrower as they go down, so that when you put something that fits at the top here, you get down towards the bottom, it actually grips, and then it wouldn't go all the way in, and it didn't make a very good fit. So I made these thinner. I also made the top part a bit stronger as well, and I've printed these in PETG on my bamboo printer, and they really are quite strong. And the glue that I'm going to be using is my favorite 5-minute epoxy Gorilla Glue. and you need to wait about 24 hours for this to set properly, because it doesn't really go off in 5 minutes. So we've got some nice big ridges in here in these case clips for the glue to go into, so there's as much surface area as possible. It just increases the surface area massively. It's a really, really clever design by the person that made it originally. And when I put them in, I need to make sure that they are at the right height, so that there's a lip at the top of these lines here that needs to be level with the top of the case here. And you can't go, if you go down too far like that, then when you put this into the case, these will just get ripped off, or that will get snapped. And if you go too high, then the back of the case will be loose. So it just needs to be quite, you know, pretty much spot on if you can get it. It's not too important, because you can file a little bit out of here to make it a little bit looser if it's tight. But the problem is that all of these cases, all of the C64 cases, there's different designs. There are different clips on some of them and different spacings, and they're all a little bit different. I don't know how many different revisions there are of the bread bin case, but there are different revisions, and they are different to each other. And it makes fitting these clips really difficult, because they're not all going to be exactly the same. But you want to get it, you know, reasonably close to the original. And I can show you actually on the original one, if I line this up with the top of the case, pretty much exactly, and we zoom down, you can see that the underside of this clip is really close to the underside of the original clip, once it's in the right place. Another thing I like to do is use my trusty blue tape across the back here. I'll put a few bits around here because I'm going to clamp these. A really important part of gluing is clamping, and if you don't use a clamp, you won't get as much plastic to plastic contact as you would normally. You can use like the spring clamps, but I've found that they just don't hold it as strong as I would like. So I use these C clamps. These are, pick those up pretty cheap anywhere, and a few pieces of masking tape across the back here, just to protect the plastic when I clamp that in, because I'm going to clamp it fairly tight. Something like that. It's also going to protect this outside of the part of the case if any glue happens to spill over the top. Right, just a little test fit on each one. This one is really loose in here. That one's slopping around all over the place. This one, oh no, that's quite loose as well. Right, I've got my clamps, I've got my clips, and I've got my glue. I just need to mix this up. I'm going to use a piece of tape on my workbench here. I'm going to add a bit more to it actually. And I like to use a bamboo skewer. These are so useful just for mixing up. I'm going to use the blunt end, which has been slightly crushed. That's even better. Doesn't matter what you do, this gets on your fingers somehow. Right, I'm going to start with this middle one and just plonk in some globs of glue. I don't like to go all the way to the top because it will squeeze out and over the top that way. So I like to leave a small gap there, but the glue will actually fill in gaps. It actually says that on the packet. Right, here's my clip. I'm just going to put the clip in place, and then once it's in place, just slide it down into position. It's pretty close. It will move. Once you clamp it, it's going to move. Go slowly. That actually looks pretty good. It might be a little low actually. Yeah, that's spot on. I've managed to get epoxy resin in that connector. I might have to change that now. You can see on this one there's squeeze out underneath. That's good. You want squeeze out when you're gluing something. This glue's starting to get gloopy now, but that's really no problem at all. It's going to work just as well. In fact, it'll probably be a little bit easier to handle. Marvellous. Now all I need to do is wait for that to cure, and I'm going to put it outside for while I'm working in the workshop today and get rid of this other epoxy as well and leave it till tomorrow. It's not going to be outside all night, but just till the smell goes. It's been a little over 24 hours and it's time to take this off, see what happens. Well, they haven't immediately just fallen off, so that's good. Get rid of the tape. And there's no mark where the clamp was. The tape has really done its job. The small stress mark in the plastic, but that might have been there before. Let's get it down. You can see these are good and strong. There is no real glue to speak of. A little bit squeeze out in the bottom part there and there. Let's try putting it in the case together. I'm going to do it without a board in here for now. Okay. Yeah, there's a tiny little bit of play. Very tiny, minimal bit of play there, and much less on this center one here. And this clip is still doing its job at this end. Oh, just about. It'll do better when the PCB is inside, when the motherboard is inside. Excellent. I'll just put this one back together and send it back to Paul now, and he can clean it. Ugh. It's got stuff on it. What's that? It needs a good clean. It's sticky. And that's how I do C64 case clips. It's not too difficult. It's just the waiting for a day for the glue to go off is not the ideal, but it's the only sure way, because every other glue that I've tried, it always fails. I've tried hot glue and I've tried just normal, you know, I don't even know what it is, like Bostik type glues and plastic glues, and then they're just not strong enough. Epoxy resin will actually bind the two pieces together and in a really strong way, but you have to be patient with it. Right, I hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you in the next one. It's time to I'm definitely not cleaning this.